tell you that they are doing this because it will give them satisfaction, it will give them happiness, or it will give them peace. Either of these three. If you were to come to me and say that my goal of life is to be unhappy, sad and depressed, I would be very concerned for you. And I hope nobody in this room has that feeling. The truth of the matter is, while we are all running after happiness, it is not always the case that happiness is running after us. In fact, many of us will go through moments of life which are full of challenges. And in those moments, we are trying to fix the material problems with material solutions. Prahlad Maharaj said one time, and you all know Prahlad Maharaj, he's a very great devotee of the Lord. And remember, Prahlad was harassed by his father Hiranyakashipu, isn't it? And finally, his father was vanquished by Lord Vishnu in the form of Narsingadev. At the end, when Lord Narsingadev had killed Hiranyakashipu, Lord Narsingadev then told Prahlad, whatever that you want, you can ask from me. He also told Prahlad that anything that your father has, which he has the kingdom, the wealth and everything, it actually is yours now. And if you want anything else which you need as a benediction, ask from me and I will give it to you. But one very important thing Prahlad Maharaj replied is very, very significant for us. Prahlad Maharaj said, Dukkhau shadam tarapi dukkha matadhyayam bhuman vadami vadame tavadasya yogam. So he said that actually in this material world, whatever material qualifications and material solutions that we have in pursuit of material happiness, those solutions will very often become more problematic than the problems themselves. I give you a simple example. You go see a doctor because you've got a headache or your blood pressure is too high. The doctor will give you adequate medicine to take care of your blood pressure perhaps. But he will also tell you that this medication has some other side effect. And now I have to give you some other medicine to counter that side effect. You get antacids and you get everything else. And so what happens is, you solve one problem, but very often you may open the door to another problem. Sometimes in relationships in this world, we come out of one difficult relationship thinking that this relationship will save us all, only to find out that this relationship is as bad as the relationship previously. Material solutions are not the solutions to material problems. This is very important. As a generation, our parents gave us education so that we can become richer and have a better life. But we also realize by now that education and a good job is not the only solution. Very often it is not the solution to eternal happiness. Very often, even while you're working and toiling and moiling, you will have your requisite problems and they will always keep coming. Why am I speaking about this? Because in this very important month of Damodar Mass, we are trying to remember Krishna and we are trying to remember the purpose of life. The purpose of life is not simply to enjoy with your mind and senses this material world. Because if you could, then you should live forever. But the truth is, you and I will not live forever. And therefore, before our time is up, it is very important to realize that there is true happiness. There is happiness that is not elusive. There is happiness that can actually continue in this world. But it is in spiritual investment. That is very important. We put so much of time and effort into material investments, but the returns that they bear, we will never be able to carry with us at the point of our disease, or even at the point of our deterioration of our senses, or even at the point of our death. You know, Alexander the Great, you all know him as the great conqueror of the world. There's a reverb of it. I don't know whether there's a reverb. Yeah, is it on? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Is it better? Yeah. No? Because the echo is becoming a bit difficult. It's okay, Prabhu? Better? Yeah. So Alexander the Great was a very powerful conqueror. And you all know him as one of the greatest conquerors of the known world at that time. Historically, if you've done history, you will realize that Alexander the Great was undone by a very simple disease, right? He was actually bitten by an insect And eventually, he died of what scholars today would probably say an infection, and what later turned out to be sepsis. Okay, your whole body actually turns against you. Now, at the point when he realized that all the best physicians in the world that he had commanded with his wealth and power, they all came, and eventually nobody could cure him. So before he died, Alexander made very famous statements. The most important statement he made was that when at the point of my death, I want three things to be done. The first is that you should put me in a coffin, and I want my pallbearers to actually be all the doctors who try very hard to save me and to whom I spend so much money on. The second wish I want is to make sure that when I am dead, my hands, my palms should be put out of the coffin, and they should be open for the world to see. And the third point that's very important is that when I am taken out on a procession, please make sure that all the riches that I have in the form of coins, they should all be distributed, thrown out on the streets to everyone. And make everybody understand what I had gone through. I have been at the pinnacle of my ambition, and I've fulfilled everything material. But I am still not happy, because I continue to understand that I cannot take all that I have now with me. I can't. So Alexander died. But before he died, his physicians and his advisor asked him a very important question. They asked him this question: why do you want these three wishes to be there? And he said, the first wish is that my doctors should actually carry me. And the reason why they should carry me is because I want the world to know that, factually speaking, even the best physicians in the world cannot help you if your time is coming up. It cannot. The second thing that he said is, I want my hands to be open. And I want them open because I want the world to see that despite me having all that I've accumulated, I leave today with nothing in my palms. I will have nothing in my hands, actually. And at the point of death, that's all you are. You have nothing. And the third thing he said is, I wanted all my coins to be thrown out to the world because I want to show them that at the point of me leaving this body, actually, frankly speaking, there is nothing that I have, all this wealth that I have is actually of no value to me. I worked so hard to conquer the world, and I conquered all this property, but factually speaking, it has no value to me. And then he said something very interesting. He said, but what will happen after I die, and I'm very sure of this, is that by the time the crowd sees the money on the streets, and even if you have proclaimed on my behalf that the money is of no value, they will still run around chasing each other, and they will grab whatever money that they can. And this is what we call ignorance of our true goal in life. This is a very important point for us to realize. Diwali and all these occasions are not just meant to be festivities from a material sense. Today we have made it into a material proclivity because we have no understanding of why and what it means from a spiritual point of view. During our forefathers' time, and according to Shastras, Diwali and all these period of festivals was not a time for drinking, smoking and doing anything else. It was a time of prayer. It was a time for us to reconnect again with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. You all know that Krishna stayed in Vrindavan, isn't it? And you all know the gopis. And you know the residents of Vrindavan, they had Krishna in the center of all that they did. And every evening after they finished all the things that they did, they would always come together and they would sit down, and all the ladies would get together and they would perform their favorite pastime. And what was their favorite pastime? To gossip. To gossip. And we know generally when we come together, whether it's ladies or men, it doesn't matter. At some point we're going to gossip. And gossip by definition means you and I talk about a third person. We will never gossip about each other until a third person comes in. Then we will talk about the third person. That's how it is normally. So what happens here is that... Something like that?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Now, if that goes off, there's no electricity, Prabhu. Suddenly, Prabhu, there's no electricity. Is it off? Are we okay now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Only the face.
Is it connected to the mic?
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah.
I think yes. No, there
It's
is a
okay?
title code behind.
Okay, fine.
I will do that.
Okay. So what happens is, all these ladies will come in Vrindavan Dham. And what they will do is that they will sit down together and they will all gossip. But their gossip in Bhagavatam is known as transcendental gossip. Why is it transcendental? Because they will come together and they will talk about what Krishna did for the whole day. One gopi will say, Krishna came to my house and he stole butter. The other gopi will say, oh my God, he came to my house and he stole butter. Then the other gopis will share notes and they'll realize Krishna stole butter from all our houses. And then they will start thinking, if he stole all the butter from all the houses, what is Mother Yashoda doing? Because she's supposed to feed him butter, but in the end he's coming to our houses to steal butter. But after speaking like that, they will say, but you know something? We are so happy secretly that Krishna is coming every day to our house to steal butter. Why? Because in all their hearts, they desire to serve Krishna. And because they could not do it openly, because Krishna belonged to Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mata, but they had a desire to serve him. And Krishna would come to their houses, and by taking butter from them, they became very happy. Today in the material world, if you go to somebody's house and you steal butter from them, and you see what happens. Right? It's a very different proposition in the material world. But in the spiritual world, when Krishna steals butter, everybody becomes happy. Why? Because there is nothing for Krishna to steal. Krishna is the proprietor of everything. Krishna has created butter. Therefore, butter doesn't belong to you or me. We may think it belongs to you and me, but everything belongs to Krishna. If anybody here comes up to me and tells me, no, my car belongs to me, my house belongs to me, then I just put forward to you a very simple proposition. And this proposition is something, if there is something that you own, then it should go with you wherever you go. And it should be with you, or you have the capacity to take it wherever you go. You will never be able to take anything you have at the point of your death. And therefore that conclusively proves that during the time when you have something, it is only on borrowed time. A devotee sees whatever that is given to him or her not as their property, but as an opportunity to serve Krishna. Our children are given to us so that we can give them Krishna and serve them that way. Our husbands and wives are given to us so that we can make them God conscious and we can serve them. Whatever properties that you have, if you use it in the service of Krishna, there is no karma attached to it. But the moment you use it for your sense gratification, all the karma descends on your head only. That is Shastra. That is irrefutable Shastra. And therefore in Vrindavan Dham, all the gopis put Krishna in the center. All the residents put Krishna in the center. Grahe grahe gopavadhu kadambe sarve militva samavapya yogam punyani namani patanti nityam govinda damo dharmadaveti. This is what the gopis were doing. They will come together and they will speak about Krishna. And that is exactly what we are doing today. For the next few minutes, we will just hear about Krishna. And I guarantee you, ask yourself before you leave today's program, test yourself, how did you feel during the program? And I will quote you one last shloka, not now, but at the end of the whole Leela. And you test yourself if that shloka actually is true. On the day of Diwali, Mother Yashoda woke up in the morning, and you can see her here. She's dressed very beautifully. In Bhagavatam it is said that she wore a yellow saffron color sari. She had wonderful jewels and she had Vaijayanti and Malati flowers in her hair. And she was ready for Diwali. She saw all her maid servants were busy with so many chores, but she wanted to make butter for Krishna. The normal tendency of Diwali is, if you have enough maid servants, you outsource the work so that you don't become too caught up in the work. But Mother Yashoda did not outsource this service. And this is the first point we must take back. When we perform bhakti, bhakti is personal. You have to do it yourself. You can't ask your domestic worker, you please do something, light the lamp for Krishna now. Okay, that's fine, that's done. You go and clean up something for the altar. No. Anything to do with the Lord, we must do it. because bhakti is personal. So Mother Yashoda churned butter for Krishna because she knew this was what Krishna wanted. This is the second point to understand. We must learn to conduct ourselves in such a way, Shastras tell us, that we perform activities which are pleasing for Krishna. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, just offer me a leaf, a flower, a fruit or water. Krishna doesn't ask for anything much. But whatever that we do, we should do it in such a way that it is actually for Krishna's happiness. This is extremely important. That's the second point we must understand. So Mother Yashoda, after doing that, she then started churning. And her churning was actually very, very loving. She did it with so much effort. Sorry, I was wondering what you were doing behind me. Thank you. You can sit. You can sit now. No, this is a video and it's recording, so you have to go this way. That's it. Just move back. Prabhuji, you all know how to squeeze, right? So squeeze. Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. So Mother Yashoda churned butter. Butter was laborious. Butter churning is laborious. It is not easy. But despite the labor, she performed it with great love. The reason why she had great love for Krishna was because she knew it would please him. And secondly, she actually did it so that Krishna would feel happiness when he would eat butter. This is very important. If you really love someone, you would do things for them in such a way that would please them. In material world, that's what we do, isn't it? We do that to our wives, our husbands, our children. But how often do we think about what pleases God? That very, very, very seldom we think about. What we try to do is very quickly in the morning we do some arati. Or quickly in the evening we will do some arati. What we want very often from God is, God please bless us with a nice wife, a nice child, a nice husband, a good car and a good condo. That's generally what we want. We want some good balance in the bank and we want to make sure that everybody is happy in the house. That kind of prayer is what we call transactional. Mother Yashoda was not transacting with Krishna. Krishna, you give me this, I'll give you this. No. But factually speaking, 90% of all our prayers is just that. And very often, even if we take great vows of austerity, the purpose of the vow of austerity is very important. It is meant to create and deepen our relationship with God. Not to fulfill a vow, but the vow that needs to be fulfilled is that we must develop love of God. That is the ultimate reason for austerity and penance. And so Mother Yashoda was performing austerity, but her motive was devotional. And therefore she was very peaceful. And she endeavored. Now as she was endeavoring and she was remembering Krishna's pastimes, she was not idle. And Krishna came out because he was asleep. And the moment he came out, he came to her and he told her to stop churning because he wanted milk from her. Now Mother Yashoda did not say, Krishna, you wait. I need to churn milk for you. The object of her worship was before her. So why should she continue the activity? This is very important. This is the fourth point. When we perform an activity, it should be not for the activity itself, but for the goal of pleasing Krishna. There's a famous story. There's an old lady who was told by the villagers that anytime you get into trouble, you should always remember Krishna and pray to him. And if Krishna comes before you, you pray for bhakti. Because bhakti alone will give you happiness. The lady was carrying this wood on her head, all the stacks of firewood, when it suddenly dropped and it all scattered. So she called, Krishna, please help me. And Krishna came. And Krishna said, what do you want from me? In Krishna's heart, he was thinking, if you call me and if I appear before you, you should ask for bhakti. But the lady just looked at Krishna and said, can you tie all this up and put it back on my head again? Because I have to carry it all the way back to the village. That is foolishness, isn't it? The object of our worship is in front of us, but we are asking something which is completely mundane. This is what 90% of the time we are doing with Krishna. Our yajnas, our homas, our prayers, they're all moving in that way. And that is why the peace and satisfaction that is sustainable is not there. One day we're up, one day we're down. One day we're up, one day we're down. But Mother Yashoda's peace and satisfaction was always steady. because of her understanding that Krishna was the goal of her life. So she fed Krishna. And Krishna became very peaceful and happy. And she also became very peaceful and happy. But Mother Yashoda had put a pot of milk, and that milk was boiling on the stove in the kitchen. She could hear it boiling and she could smell it. And she thought, I must save the milk because it's meant for Krishna. But if I put Krishna down, he hasn't been fully fed. So he may become upset. But Mother Yashoda said, the milk is for Krishna. Let me take my chance. And so she ran into the kitchen. But Krishna was left alone. Krishna played the perfect part of a child. Children, when left alone, they are never sadhus. Am I right? If a child is a sadhu, something is quite amazing. Most children are never sadhus. If you leave them be and they are not fully fed, they become very, very upset. And so Krishna played the part of a perfect boy. He started becoming angry with his mother. And he said, today I'm going to teach my mother a lesson. And what did he do? He took a stone and he broke the pot that she was so lovingly churning for him. And he took the butter. Some people say, so much effort for God and it's wasted. But Acharyas say differently. Acharyas say that Mother Yashoda's effort of making that butter was actually complete already. And because it was complete, Krishna was in a hurry to taste the butter. And he created such a situation that Mother Yashoda had to go into the room to save the milk, and Krishna could get butter on an express lane. Very quickly he could break it, very quickly he could take butter, and he became very satisfied. And how much he must have blessed his Mother Yashoda for making him the best butter. But now he knew she's going to come out, and she's going to become very upset. So Krishna ran away, and he entered into the house, further in. Mother Yashoda came out, and she was shocked. What has happened? I leave Krishna for hardly 2 minutes and he's broken the pot. Butter is all over the place. Everybody is complaining every day that he's a thief. What am I going to do with Krishna? On Diwali day, I have to do something about this. So what does Mother Yashoda do? She picks up a stick and she takes the stick and she says, today I must discipline Krishna. And so she follows the footprints of Krishna in butter all the way to the storeroom. In the storeroom, which is as big as this place, maybe even bigger, she has stored butter pots all very high up. Why high up? Because Krishna is very small. And she thought that there's no way he can reach it. But she saw an amazing sight. If you come later, you will see behind Krishna is a mortar. And the mortar is used for grinding spices. She saw that Krishna had stood on the mortar. And while standing on the mortar, he was breaking pots. And butter was flowing. And Krishna was feeding his best friends, the monkeys of Vrindavan. And the monkeys of Vrindavan and Krishna, they were pals. Wherever Krishna went, they would go. Wherever they went, Krishna went. They were very, very close. And now Krishna was doing a wonderful act. He was stealing butter from his own house, by the way. And he took that butter and he was feeding all the monkeys lovingly. The monkeys were taking the butter and they were also feeding Krishna lovingly. Mother Yashoda thought, this is quite an amazing sight. Thieves stealing something and then sharing the stolen goods very equally. And she was thinking, this boy really needs to be disciplined. But she was standing at the corner and Mother Yashoda was unseen because Krishna's back was to the door. The monkeys were very happy. But what Mother Yashoda did not know is that these monkeys were not ordinary monkeys. They were the Vanaras who served Lord Ram in Treta Yuga. And because they served him so well there, at the end of his killing of Ravana, Ram asked these monkeys, ask me for a benediction. You have served me so well, ask me for anything, and it shall be done. But the monkeys are pure devotees of the Lord. They don't want anything material because they know matter does not last. They know that true happiness, like I said to you at the very beginning, true happiness, which is not temporary, will only be in a spiritual benediction. And that is why they said, Lord Ram, I only have one request. They asked only one request. That when you come back again, whenever you descend into this world again, I pray that you will give us the chance to come and serve you. That's all they wanted. So a very important, this is the fifth point of bhakti, a very important part of bhakti is how much of a service mood do we have. You can all check in your own hearts. The more you are ready to serve Krishna, the more your bhakti is growing. The more you are tired because, oh Krishna, I have this material consideration, that material consideration, that proportionately is your level of bhakti. Therefore, Mother Yashoda's level of bhakti was very high because her entire life was spent serving Krishna. These monkeys' bhakti was very, very high also because an entire lifetime in Treta Yuga they served Lord Ram. And they said, we want to come back and we want to serve you again. And Krishna said, so be it. And so when in Treta Yuga, Lord Ram made the promise, I promise you that you will come back and you will serve me. 6th point in bhakti. Krishna, whatever promise he makes, he never breaks. Whatever promise we make, half the time we break. Or if we don't break our promise, we adjust our promise. Don't we adjust? Little bit adjustments. Krishna, in my enthusiasm before I sat for my exam, I told you that I will fast for 5 days. But actually I meant 3 days. It's not 5 days. We do our adjustments. But Krishna is so kind, he never says anything. Whatever you want to do, you do. I will reciprocate. But in this case, it was so nice that Lord Ram did not forget the promise he made in Treta Yuga. And he came back as Krishna in Dwapara Yuga. That's thousands of years difference. And now the same monkeys, who were the monkeys in Treta Yuga, they came back as the monkeys in Vrindavan, and they had the opportunity to serve Krishna in friendship. And Krishna had the opportunity to serve them with butter and with love. Now they saw Mother Yashoda, and they decided, Mother Yashoda is very nice lady, but her stick is not very nice. It's time to leave. And so they quickly left, leaving only Krishna behind. Krishna's back was to the wall and the door. But when the monkeys left, even though the best butter was there, he knew something was very bad. And somebody was behind. When Krishna turned and saw Mother Yashoda, he was very happy. But when he saw the stick with her, he was not very happy. And at that point of time, he decided, it's time for me to run. And Krishna got off the motor and he started running. And Mother Yashoda thought Krishna's a small boy. I see a lot of small children here. I'm sure parents, when they run, right, unless you're totally unfit and grossly overweight, you will not be able to catch them. But generally speaking, you'll be able to catch them. Mother Yashoda, Bhagavatam says, she was not very thin, but she wasn't very heavy either. She was somewhere in between. So she was confident, I can catch the boy. Krishna started running, and Mother Yashoda reached out. But Krishna was just half a meter away, 1 meter away, 10 meters away. Every time she thought, this yellow dhoti of his is very close, I'm going to catch it. He was already half a meter away. And she was bewildered. Mother Yashoda was bewildered. In Bhagavatam, bewilderment means vimohana. She was completely bewildered. She didn't know what was happening. And she became very tired. Because after a while, she lost stamina. But Krishna was running and running and running and running. And she couldn't catch him. And finally she said, Krishna, please let me catch you. It's very hard to catch you. I need to catch you because it's Diwali day. And I got a lot of things to do. And I need to discipline you. And I'm worried for you. So please let me catch you. When Krishna heard the mood of her humility, when Krishna knew how attentive she was to him, when Krishna realized how surrendered, Sharanam, how surrendered Mother Yashoda was to him, he allowed himself to be caught. The word Shastras use is he allowed himself. Because the truth is, nobody can catch Krishna. You cannot catch Krishna simply because he is God. If you want to catch God, you have to qualify yourself to catch God. Just like if you want to go to university, you can't just walk into university tomorrow and sit in the classroom. The teacher there will say, are you qualified to sit here? Isn't it? So you need qualification to enter into the kingdom of God. And that qualification is your surrender. That qualification is your humility. That qualification is your focus that Krishna is the center. This is the mood of surrender. And because Mother Yashoda had surrender in her heart, Krishna surrendered himself to Mother Yashoda. See the exchange of surrender, how relishable this is. As a devotee takes surrendered steps to God, God takes surrendered steps to the devotee. And yet the same Krishna was chased once by a demon. And that demon was known as Kalayavana. He thought he could catch Krishna. And Krishna, every time he tried to catch Krishna, Krishna was half a mile ahead or a few kilometers ahead. And the demon was getting very frustrated. But the demon realized, or did not realize, that Krishna cannot be caught by those who don't have faith in him. If you don't have faith in Krishna, that means you're not surrendered to Krishna. How can you catch Krishna? It is impossible to catch Krishna. So therefore, it is very important for us to know that the element of bhakti that Mother Yashoda had was her surrender. And that surrender was based on her labor, her endeavor, and her humility. And therefore Krishna surrendered to her and he was caught. And now he's caught. You can see him here. He's caught now. And now that he's caught, he displays another wonderful pastime. He begins to cry. Whenever does God cry? When you hear of God in the Bible, in the Quran, you will never hear of God crying. But in Vrindavan Dham, Krishna was an ordinary boy, even though he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so when he saw his mother, he was very happy. Or when he saw that stick, he became very scared. And so Kunti Mata says that this is an amazing sight. Kunti Mata is remembering this sight. She says, Vaktram niniya bhaya bhava neya stitasya samam vibheti, right? Samam vimohanam yat vibheti. She says that this sight of Krishna crying before his mother in fear is very bewildering to me, Krishna. Why? Because the world, all the great demons of the world are afraid of you. And the material nature is moving based on fear of you. Even fear personified is fearful of you. Even Yamaraj, the great superintendent of death, is fearful of you. But you are fearful of a stick that Mother Yashoda is holding? How is that possible, Krishna? Krishna is known in Bhagavatam, right, with a very special quality. This quality is Hari Vina Britya Vatsala. Hari Vina Britya Vatsala. It means that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is prepared to become subordinate to his pure devotee. He has no pride in his heart. He is ready to become a child before his mother. He is ready to become a simple friend before Arjuna. Do you know how close Arjuna and Krishna was in Mahabharata? You know that Arjuna became the charioteer to Krishna. And when you are a charioteer on a battlefield of Kurukshetra, right, it is not an easy task. If you are a charioteer, you are actually a driver. And in the midst of battle, Arjuna is not going to tell Krishna, can you please make a left? Can you please take a turn? You know, he's not going to do that. Because he's shooting arrows, arrows are coming at him. So traditionally, when charioteers were riding the chariot, people like Arjuna and those who were the warriors, they would kick the shoulders of the charioteers. They would kick the right shoulder, turn right. Kick the left shoulder, turn left. Kick straight, between the shoulders, go straight. That's how it would be. Krishna took that from Arjuna because he was a friend. And do you know that when the Pandavas were sleeping in the night in Mahabharata, for the 18 days, do you know they had no security detail outside? Because Krishna was standing outside every night as a night watchman. The best security you can ever have is Krishna. Standing outside with a sword in hand, and he's just up, waiting and protecting his devotees. That is why Krishna is known as Britya Vatsala. He is surrendered to his devotee who surrenders to him. And so that is why Kunti Mata is saying, how can Krishna cry? What is he afraid of? But Mother Yashoda was his mother. So he became afraid of her out of love. And Mother Yashoda out of love said, no more sticks. I'm going to put the stick away. Krishna, I'm not going to beat you. Because he was crying. His kajal, his mascara, they were all flowing. Because tears were flying. The tears were flowing. His jewelry, everything was shaking because he was shaking. So Mother Yashoda calmed Krishna down. No stick. Later when you come and you do the arati, when you offer the lamb, I don't know, this time I think the sari may be there, but on the side, you will see the stick. She actually puts the stick down. And then she says, Krishna, I am going to not discipline you, but I'm going to tie you. And I'm going to tie you because you're too restless. And therefore, I need to do work. So she takes ropes and she brings the rope around Krishna. But the rope is 2 inches short. She thought, this is funny. Krishna is not very big. But I need more rope. So she gets more rope. And if they come together and they're still 2 inches short. She says, I need more rope. And she gets as much rope as she can in the house. And it's still 2 inches short. Now she goes to the house of the gopis and she says, I need more rope. And the gopis are transcendental gossips, isn't it? They say, why is this more rope going on? And Krishna and Mother Yashoda says, oh, I'm trying to tie Krishna, but I can't tie him. They say, can we come also? So they all came also. You know how it is, right? When you see a scene, the whole neighborhood will come in. And they all came, but it was Krishna. So there was no gossip. There was only remembrance of the Lord. Smaranam. Vishnu Smaranam. And therefore they came. And they all watched with amusement. Mother Yashoda is so tired, but she can't tie Krishna. Because it was always 2 inches short. And finally she gave up. She said, Krishna, please allow me to tie you. And when Krishna saw Mother Yashoda was so kind, trying her best to be the best mother she could, and surrendered to him, he decided, let me surrender to Mother Yashoda. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the master of creation, manifestation, preservation, and destruction, who is the master of the 3 modes of material nature, agreed to be bound by a rope. Not just an ordinary rope, but a rope of love. A rope of love. And so Mother Yashoda tied Krishna and she went back into the house and she was very happy. But Krishna cannot be tied for long. And Krishna said, I have one more pastime to fulfill and I have one more promise to keep. And so he started crawling towards the end of the garden where there were 2 big trees known as Yamal Arjuna trees. And Krishna started crawling and the motor, which was vertical, turned horizontal. And it just rolled with him until he passed through the tree and the motor got stuck. But Krishna is Krishna. He is the source of all strength. Balam, Balavantam. He is the source of everybody's strength. So how much strong he should be. And therefore he pushed and the trees came down with a crash. And in the place of the trees were 2 beautiful devatas. They were known as Nala Kuvera and Mani Griva. They were the 2 sons of Kuber. You know, if your father is Kuber, you're very lucky in the material world. You know why, right? You don't have to work for the rest of your life. Kuber has enough in his treasury for you to retire very early. You don't have to work. And so these 2 boys didn't have to work. But they became very intoxicated by pride. They thought, my father has so much money in the bank. You know, sometimes when we inherit wealth, we forget that we inherited it. We didn't earn it, you know. And we move around in these supercars, but actually we don't have money to pay them. Somebody's hard-earned money we are buying. And so these 2 boys were just like that. They were very intoxicated by pride. But what they didn't realize was, even though you are a devata, you may be a devotee, but the moment pride sits in your heart and you think that you own everything, you are better than everyone, and you are proud, that pride will be the start of your fall. You've heard of the phrase, pride comes before fall? This is what happened to them. And when we become proud of who we are, we have a little bit of money, we have some nice property, we are doing well, then Krishna becomes less important to us. Isn't that true very often? The more difficulty we are in, the more we remember Krishna. When everything is nice and cushy, it's very hard to remember Krishna. I am a good example of that. When I started chanting when I was young, 12, 13 years old, I remember every time exams were coming, my mother would know not because I was studying, but because I was frantically chanting. By my chanting and my japa, she knew, exams are coming. And then she knew when my exams were finished because suddenly I would give up bhakti. And I would not be chanting because why should I chant now? I've got it, right? I've done okay. Then she would knew when the results of the exams were coming because suddenly I became a bhakta. And then I'll be chanting because next day is results. And I realized years later, that's what we do very often. When things are going well, Krishna is always low priority. We don't spend so much time with him, we don't stretch for him. But if times are not good, suddenly Krishna becomes priority. This is the danger of pride. And so these 2 boys made Krishna very low priority. And therefore they made drinking and all other activities high priority. One day they were so drunk that they stepped into a lake in the Mandakini river in Mount Kailash. And there they were sporting and playing when Narada Muni, the great devotee of Krishna, passed by. And as he passed by, instead of putting on clothes and coming out and greeting him as a good sadhu should, they came out in their drunken stupor and they did not even greet him well. They were just naked before him. That is a breach of adhikar and etiquette. It is not proper sadachar also. So therefore when that happened, Narada Muni did not become angry with them. They did not realize that their very offense of hurting a devotee in this way, of not respecting a devotee this way, was already cursing them. That's why in our relationships with each other, not just devotees, but every living entity, being respectful, being non-envious, and always treating them with love and respect is so important. Because Krishna is watching us. He's in our hearts. He's Antaryami. Sometimes devotees say we should only take care of devotees. Those who are non-devotees, will just treat them like dirt. But Krishna is in their heart also. What are you going to say? Krishna sees everything. So therefore, they were not cursed by Narada Muni. Instead, Narada Muni said, you both don't understand the value of life. The value of human life is to know who Krishna is and who you are. Since you are drunk all the time, and you have no taste for spiritual life, and you don't like to wear clothes, by the way, so become trees. Become trees, because trees don't wear clothes. But I pray that you become trees in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. And many years later, I pray that Krishna will deliver you. I don't know how Krishna will deliver you, when he will deliver you, but I pray, Krishna, that you will give them darshan. And he walked away. And these two boys became trees. And they spent many, many years in the courtyard. But Krishna never delivered them for so many years. Do you know why? Because Krishna is never pleased when his devotees are not taken care of well. When Krishna's devotees are offended, when Krishna sees that a devotee is hurt, a devotee is neglected, Krishna doesn't mind if he is neglected, but he cannot take it if his devotees are not well served. And so these boys had to stay there for many years. But the time came when Krishna decided, let me fulfill the promise and the prayer of Narada. Narada promised deliverance to these boys, and he prayed to Krishna for that. And so he delivered the two boys on that day of Diwali, just after he delivered Mother Yashoda. He did deliver Mother Yashoda because he gave her pure bhakti in her heart. And now he gave these boys deliverance. And he told these boys, Deva Rishi Priyatamo, Narada is very dear to me. And that is the reason today I am delivering you. Otherwise, I have nothing to do with you and you never prayed to me anyway. So why should I deliver you? So then the two boys said, today we have realized one thing. Today we have realized the mercy of the devotees. And this is the last point that we leave you with. Even if you cannot get Krishna's mercy directly, if you get a devotee's mercy, the devotee will open the door and he will reveal the kingdom of God to you. That is the greatness of devotees. Krishna says in Padma Purana that I am very pleased with my devotees, but I am even more pleased with the devotees of my devotees. Very important. If you serve the devotees, Krishna becomes very pleased. You serve Krishna and you hurt devotees, and Krishna is not pleased. Please remember that. So you see, this Leela is so practical, isn't it? How many things did we learn today about how to live? What consciousness we should have? This is not just a fairy tale. It is not a fairy tale or a story we tell our children before they sleep. It actually happened in Vrindavan. It is eternal and eternally happening. But we have to learn what we have to do to become devotees. So the point today is, please value the importance of the human form of your life. Whatever you have today is by His mercy. As quickly as Krishna can give you something, as quickly He can withdraw from you. Better you ask for bhakti. Because bhakti, when bhakti is in your heart, whatever that you need, yogakshema mahamyaha, whatever that you have, Krishna will preserve. And whatever that you lack, Krishna will give. But if you say, Krishna, I lack something and you're not getting it, what does it mean? It means you don't need it. That's all. Sometimes we pray, Krishna, I need this, but it never comes and we blame Krishna. Okay, I'll go to some other devata. But we don't realize that the reason why Krishna is not giving us something is because it's not meant for us or it's not needed for us. We should have faith in Krishna. Now remember I told you that I want to end today by asking you how you are feeling. So now I'm going to ask you how you're feeling. I'm going to quote one shloka. You take this back and you think about how you feel. Yatra idyante katham vistas trishnayaha prasammo yataha nirvaira sarva bhuteshu norvega yatra kaschana. This is what is stated by the prachetas, great devotees of the Lord. They say, whenever audiences come together to hear about Krishna Katha, three things happen. First, whatever material hankerings that the audience has in their hearts before they come to listen to Krishna Katha, during Krishna Katha, there is no material hankering. You don't need to answer the question, just ask yourself, do you feel any material hankering? Maybe you're hungry, that's different. It's coming soon. But apart from that, whatever hankerings that you have, while you're hearing about Krishna, they become quelled. Second, nirvaira sarva bhuteshu. Whatever envy that we have in our hearts, they are removed when we hear Krishna Katha. If this was a wedding function, or social function, or a party, I tell you our envy quotient will be very high. Very high. We call it EQ, envy quotient. Not emotional, but envy. Your envy quotient will be very high because we all compare. Who's dressed up what way? This person is a walking jewelry shop. This person is wearing this big diamond. She looked straight through me and never spoke to me, but she spoke to my friend and just ignored me for the whole evening. This has happened. And we go home and we are disturbed. This fellow was talking and boasting about his second car, and his new upgrade, So what happens is we all start comparing with each other. We all look at who's wearing what. But I tell you, up till now, I'm looking at everyone. Nobody has looked at anybody. Nobody's looking at what he's wearing, what she's wearing. You're all looking at Krishna. Therefore, there is no envy. Third point, norvega yatra kaschana. Whatever fear that you have in your heart, it is all outside with your chappal and your footwear. There is no fear in this room. There is only peace. Some people tell me, no, I have no fear. Even when I go out, I have no fear. But even if you don't have fear, Bhagavatam says you have the cousin of fear. The cousin of fear is anxiety. And there isn't a single one in this room who doesn't have anxiety. And I tell you, after this program, after your prasadam, Sunday night, and you think of Monday morning, your anxiety levels are going to go up. Okay? They're all going to go up. The children will be thinking of exams. If you're having A levels, good luck. Okay? Other than that, the adults will be thinking of tomorrow, my work. The homemakers and the housewives will be thinking, oh, I've got to get rid of all of them tomorrow morning. And in the morning, it's going to be real hell. Everybody has anxiety. But if you hear Krishna Katha, right now, no one is anxious. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Yashoda Mata ki Jai. Jai Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki Jai. Jai Gaura Premanande. Are we ready to light the lamps for Krishna? And now when you do it with bhakti. Okay? Children, when you light the lamps, what are you going to say? Are you going to say, tomorrow I have a bad, difficult paper, I need to do well? You could ask for that. But the better thing to ask is ask for bhakti. Okay? Can you help each other to do that? Adults, I don't have to ask you to do that. I would request you to do that. Please, ask for bhakti, and that will come. So, Prabhu, Sumit Prabhu, Shamdev Prabhu, there you are, okay? Everybody has the lyrics?
Yes, it's in our normal clothes. So you will have the Damodar.
Should I move further back here? No, I think I need to. Okay, just let me move a bit. Where should I be here? No, I'm fine. Tell me where. I see this corner is good. I'm just here. I'll sit on the corner. Yeah.
I will get
I'll sit on this side. Is it okay? Let's take yeah.
Like this.
नहीं ट्रेनिंग है
दोनों प्लेस में रखना
I just before you start this catalog.
Oh, okay. Sure, yeah. It's okay. You're going to have some help, right? Yeah, okay. Wait, Prabhu, let me show you now.
Tell me, check the mic first.
Very good. Hare Krishna. So this is what we will do. Oh, it's so nice you said. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Very, very nice. So now this is what we will do. Prabhu and Mataji will start inviting the devotees forward. I think probably the ladies,
Yeah, ladies first.
ladies and children will come first. We all will line up. As you come forward, you can see she's right here with the achaman. They will give water to you. Don't drink the water. The water is meant for purification, just for your palm. Then you take the lamb and you offer it to Damodar and offer it to Yashoda Mata. Right? And when you offer, your prayer is very important. And please, after you do that, then you can move back and you can bow. So we'll need to move this at a certain pace, right? So let's keep moving. Let's do that. Thank you. And the rest of us should sing. Don't look around, don't be distracted. Sing and remember Krishna. Jai Shri Shri Damodar Ashtakam ki Namamishwaram Sachiranandarupam Lasakundalam Gokule Prajamaham Yashoda Biyolokala Bhavamahanam Paramrishtahamadyan Tato Drutya Gopya Namamishwaram Sachiranandarupam Lasatkunalam Gokule Brajamanam Haribo Aramrishamadyan tato drupya gopya Rudantam muhurnetra yugmam rijantam Karamboja yugme nasatanka netram Moho swasakanta trireka kakanta Stita daivam namo daram bhakti bhajam Iti driksvalilami anandakunde Swagosham nimajan tamakyapayantam Haribol! Tadiyeshi bhaktai jitatam Guna premahatastam Sata vritti vande Jai Damodar ji ki Varam deva moksham na Mokshavadim ma Nachanyam prineham Parishadapiha Idam teva purnata gopalamalam Sada me manasya virastam mande Jai Bala Gopal ki Idam te mukham bhojam adyatanime Kritam kuntalaisni darataischa gopya Muhushumbitam me bharatadaram me Manasya virasta malam lakshanave Haribol! Namo Deva Damodar Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabodhu Kachalabdi Matlam Krika Drishti Vishya Divinam Matanam Brahmane Shamama Nyamidakshi Vishaya Kuveratmajau Baddham Mujjayvayadvam Vayamochitau Bhakti Bhajau Kritau Chau Katha prema bhaktim swakam nipayacha Namo Shrigraho me Damodare धाम में त्वदीयोदरायान्त विश्वस्य धाम में
Krishna,
नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय श्री यशोदा दामोदर जी की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरि बोल। कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरि हरि हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। बोलो हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण संकीर्तन यज्ञ की, यशोदा माता की, जय श्री राधा दामोदर जी की, श्रीमती राधा रानी की, वृंदावन भूमि धाम की, गिरि गोवर्धन की, कृष्ण बलराम की, जय गौर प्रेमानंद। So we thank you.